There's talk about Battlefield 5 censorship, Sony's finally letting us change our PSN names, and be careful what messages you open up on your PlayStation because you could just brick it. Stay tuned to learn more on today's episode of the Heycast. Hello everybody, you're listening to episode 4 of the Heycast, the #1 gaming podcast in our hearts. I'm Timothy, and Arnold's not here today, but instead we have Giacomo. I know, not my first choice.
Fuck you, I'm your only choice.
So we had I had a bit of a week at school, and we have a lot of news this week too. A lot of pretty interesting stories.
I personally like the Dragon Ball Z shoes.
Which we will get to. But before we get to our news stories and stuff, why don't we go ahead and talk about our weeks a little bit? Did you have a week at all, Giacomo?
Hell yes, I did. I was trying to remember how to play Transistor. So I went to the System of a Down show.
Okay.
And there was just like moments where they were setting up the show, and I'm playing on my phone, and I completely forgot, and I'm like halfway done with the game, and I'm getting my ass kicked to all these bosses. I don't know what I'm for Transitor.
Oh,
man, remember that? I
Transistor?
forget. Yeah, Transistor. Look, I can't even pronounce it. That's how long it's been. I have it right here. Yeah. It's right there with all my other games that I play occasionally.
I love Transistor. Transistor's an awesome game.
Super fun. Loved the game. Loved the music. Forgot it. What else? That was pretty much it. I was going to play my Switch, and then it didn't have battery because I hadn't charged it in a long time.
Right.
And
why are you trying to play your Switch at a System of a Down concert, though?
Because there's times where you're waiting before the show starts.
Sure. You're not partying, moshing with everybody before the show.
You don't really mosh to nothing. Like, do you even go
I don't know.
Do you even fight in the pit?
I've never been to a concert.
You need to fight in the pit.
Okay. Okay, I'll remember to do that whenever I go to a concert.
He'll die.
But my week, so I never really have much of a week in terms of games that I've been playing, but I did have an interesting week because I was looking into flat Earth stuff because you know the YouTuber Critical?
Yeah, I know.
He goes by, on YouTube, he goes by Penguins something, but everybody just calls him Critical. He did a video a while back on a BuzzFeed video about flat Earth, and I learned about the Pac-Man theory afterwards. He doesn't talk about the Pac-Man theory on that video about flat Earth, and that flat Earth video doesn't talk about the Pac-Man theory. But when I went down to the comments, so in flat Earth theory, there is a very interesting theory where the reason we don't fall off the edge of the Earth is because there is the Arctic Circle, where there is ice walls surrounding the edge of the Earth.
So that's where it gets kind of weird when I looked into it. It feels like we're just a big circle then.
Yeah. So no, we're just we're a flat disc, right? We don't orbit. What we do is we continuously move upwards with the sun, and the sun circles around like the top of the Earth. And that's where seasons come from.
That's so weird.
Yeah, they were mentioning how the reason we don't fall off the edge of the Earth is because we have this big ice wall around the surrounding the Earth. But that doesn't explain why airplanes don't go past it. And so to explain the fact that airplanes can't go past it, they added the Pac-Man theory, where if you reach the edge of the Earth, you just end up at the other side, like in Pac-Man.
Waka waka, what the fuck are you talking about?
It's amazing.
That's so, I remember, I heard about that, and I just thought, why is that a thing? Like, who is really believing that?
Right.
You know what? I have to take that back because there is enough people believing it that we're having a discussion.
The flat Earth community is large enough to where we're able to talk about this
Look,
stuff.
I thought we were at the height of the flat Earth when we got Mike Hughes.
Right.
So this is just a guy who's not a rocket scientist, taught himself rocket science so that he could go create a rocket and go see it for himself. It worked. I think it went, I forgot how high it went up, but it happened. So that to me was like, that's the peak of the flat Earth. Yeah. We can't go anymore.
Flat Earth's amazing.
It's just such a good theory.
So yeah, that was my week. My week was just looking at flat Earth theory and reaching it and stuff.
That rabbit hole goes down. If you start watching it on YouTube, it does not stop.
Mm-hmm. I also started watching a lot of, what was this? It was a YouTube's. So I started watching a lot of Critical recently. I always liked his stuff. I always thought his stuff was like really funny and stuff.
I think his voice is great.
He's so monotone, but he talks about like all this hilarious shit. And then like the way he talks versus how his voice sounds is just so contradictory. It's amazing.
His voice is like a delivery system. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, that was pretty much my week. So we will go ahead and just jump straight into the news. So this first story that we have on here, Arnold put this story in. So Arnold put in a lot of stories for us since he's not going to be on today's episode.
Rip.
So thank you. And he put in notes and stuff too. But the first thing that we're going to talk about is Battlefield 5 and how... So in Battlefield 5, there was a lot of controversy over censorship in the game. So like certain things that you said would get censored. However, there was a lot of really weird things that were getting censored that a lot of people feel like shouldn't get censored. The first and most obvious one being how white man, the phrase white man would get censored. However, black man is okay apparently.
That's where I find it kind of weird. Like, so did we get like reverse? What happened? Like reverse race? What's going on?
No. So, yeah, I mean,
because the game has a bunch of white people,
right?
Like it's World War II.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, so white man's not cool. Another thing that was spurring some controversy over the censorship was DLC getting censored. However, if you put free in front of it, it doesn't get censored.
Well, so that's because
free DLC.
That's because EA knows you're gonna have to buy some shit at some point.
So EA, yeah. So they're trying to censor talk about DLC unless it is positive talk about DLC. That's kind of what a lot of people are saying. And another thing. That was something that the YouTuber Yang, I watch a lot of his stuff. Great YouTuber, really goes in depth about news stories and stuff like that. So I recommend checking him out. But after this podcast, we still want you guys to listen to this podcast.
Absolutely.
But yeah, he was talking about how a lot of people it feels like they're trying to control the game discussions to be favorable to the game. So if you talk about DLC, but you put free, you don't put free in front of it, it is more likely to be a negative talk about DLC. If you put free DLC, it's usually pretty positive. It's hard to talk negatively about free DLC, right?
I mean, yeah, I guess that's true, but it's still that sucks if they're trying to make the narrative go that way.
One of the funniest things that I thought was getting censored is Nazi. Because
it's World War II.
Yes, the game takes place in World War II. The Nazis were a pretty major component of World War II.
They're a third of the Axis power, of the main Axis
right?
powers. If they were providers of cell phones, they would be Verizon.
Yeah.
And then you'd have Italians as like AT&T, and you'd have Japan as Sprint. I don't know. You work between those ones. And we have T-Mobile as everybody else, of the four major carriers.
So they did respond to this. Let me see if I can find the page. So on Twitter... David Sterland, who is the multiplayer producer of Battlefield 5, he says the reason why words like white man and DLC are getting censored is because the system they're using a dictionary derived from several EA games based on some sort of AI learning algorithm that has tagged certain combinations of words to be escalators to toxic chat or similar. I don't claim to understand how it works in detail. We will change this. Here's the thing about that, though. The fact is they were using an AI. They had to train that AI in a certain way to detect specific things, which means most likely, and I'm not going to say this definitively because there's no way for us to know this definitively, but they had most likely trained it to tag things like white man. And I mean, free DLC, specifically free DLC by itself is okay. There had to be something going on kind of behind the scenes,
Spaghetti. Spaghetti is my favorite word they censored.
Oh yeah, they did censor spaghetti as well.
Honestly think it's a troll. Or like, they were testing it. Maybe they were testing it and spaghetti was the first word they thought of for whatever fucking reason.
Right.
And then they were like, okay, well, let's forge the narrative then. Mm-hmm. White, male, no. Like, no, can't say that. Can't say that.
But black man's okay.
Which is okay because minorities. Yeah. But
one of the things that they responded with was that they are it's flagging things that are more likely to cause toxic conversation.
That's
They're
true.
trying to prevent toxicity. But again, it's still like free, like DLC is not okay.
Well, the thing is maybe they shouldn't even censor it at all. Like, everyone's grown up who's playing these games. For the most part, is playing these games. For the most part,
yeah.
Like, because think about it. You get... That really only happens on PC, because you're not doing that on consoles. So, I remember thinking of, like, Overwatch when you'd put in certain words and it would change it to something else.
Yeah, it would change it to something like kind of...
like when you typed in GG easy, it would be like, I'm very insecure or something.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, like I love that. It was funny. But the idea was like, you really don't have to censor it just because people are adults. They're going to say shit.
Yeah.
And the internet, it's the fucking internet. Like, you've been on the internet. We've been on the internet. I'm on the internet right now.
Yeah.
Like,
This is America. We have free speech in America.
Yeah, and that's another thing. You're kind of getting rid of free speech in a way because you're only forcing people to say certain things that you want them to see. That's shitty.
Kind of reminds me of like Club Penguin. Club Penguin, it makes sense. That's just
they're kids. Yeah.
But
actually, they're probably like adults.
Yeah.
They love that game.
But it was just so funny because like you would type in a specific thing, just instant ban hammer.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that's Battlefield 5. They said they're fixing this whole censorship deal. We'll see how that goes.
Oh, and on another thing, they did delay the game, by the way. So which was just it's a good move and also a bad move because they should have thought about like, okay, they're releasing Call of Duty at this time.
Right.
Like they're going to go up against that right now. Why would you go up against that?
Call of Duty is the biggest first-person shooter in the market right now.
And the Battle Royale thing is out now. Like it's just, why are you fighting it? Wait a little bit. So, I think they're getting better at it. They're figuring it out.
I mean, to be fair, Battlefield 5 is kind of like the second biggest shooter sort of genre. Like it's the next big one, but you still don't want to compete with each other.
Right. If I only have $65 in my pocket, $60, like, where am I going to take it? I got to choose one game or the other.
Yeah. I mean, like both. Personally, me, I prefer Battlefield over Call of Duty.
Slower pace is a lot.
I like the slower pace. I like the more strategic oriented gameplay. Call of Duty, I mean, it still takes a lot of skill. You still got to strategize and everything, right? But it's more run around and shoot each other.
That's true.
Yeah,
I will agree.
So yeah, that was the whole Battlefield 5 situation. This next one's kind of a fun one. There is a collaboration between Adidas and Dragon Ball. Right here.
It's on their front page when you go on adidas.com, by the way.
So you can get yourself some amazing Dragon Ball kicks, Dragon Ball themed kicks. So you got this Goku one right here to the left. You got this Frieza one over here to the right. And what kind of... So I don't think they look great.
You know what? They're not made for you. They're made
not.
For the fans, for the fans of Dragon Ball Z, and for sneakerheads out united. Sneakerheads are gonna buy this. I'm looking at the prices already, and they are not cheap.
How much are they?
You can get this one for $320.
Which one is that?
That Goku is one? The ZX500.
Is that the Goku themed one?
I'm pretty sure that's the Goku.
That's the Goku themed one.
Holy crap!
Ooh,
but you know what? That's not the most expensive sneaker.
You're jumping into Yeezy territory right there.
We really are, but they're not the most expensive sneaker, and that's the reseller.
So, what this kind of, I thought this was kind of really funny because it reminded me of last year's Street Fighter collaboration with a jean company, which I will pull up right here, right now, and I'm gonna play this for you guys right here. So Street Fighter Capcom collaborated with Naked and Famous Denim to create a set of jeans themed after the characters of Street Fighter 2. So
the lining on the pants and the pocket are the best.
This is a lot more subtle than the Adidas collaboration because really the only Street Fighter thing was the back of the pants, this little leather part right here.
Yep.
And then they would add like stitching for like a Sonic Boom or a Hadouken. Over here, we got Guile, we got Ryu. I think
that was those two.
I think it was just Guile and Ryu. Was there a T-Hawk one? No.
I'm sure if this does go successful, why wouldn't they release more? It makes sense.
I mean, this is pretty cool.
It is
I'm
pretty
not gonna
cool.
lie.
I would put that on like a jean jacket. You know, like instead of having all the metal patches everywhere, you do like gaming patches.
Right.
Like, you get that shit. Call of Duty gave that to you in that mystery box bundle. So why not? You got to use them somewhere.
But yeah, like I just wanted to throw this on there because I thought it was kind of funny. It just reminded me of that whole Street Fighter thing there. I like collaborations like this, but I mean, I don't know. Those shoes don't look great to me.
I mean, look. If we just look at a timeline, 2006, they had the Air Force Ones with original Nikes. Then Adidas had a Halo thing going in 2008. You got EA Sports. I don't know what Pony Feed the Cat is. Let's go. We had Pac-Man and Miss Pac-Man Low Dunks, 2009. We're going retro here. We got, man, just got a lot of shit. Who needs Need for Speed, the Run collection? If you can't drive, you can run. Woo! Saints Row. Okay, Saints Row. I can fuck with that. That's pretty
I like
cool.
so Saints Row. I meant me and Arnold. We bring this a lot on our playthroughs. But back in the day, back in high school, we used to play Saints Row. Was it 2?
2 or 2, because I think 3 came out a little bit.
Yeah,
after.
3 came out a bit after I got out of high school. But Saints Row 2, and there was a cheat code that you could put in that would get you a big floppy dildo bat.
Oh, that was my favorite.
And we used to call that the flexi bat. And then run around and smack people. And one of my favorite things that ever happened when we were playing Saints Row was, I think I mentioned this in our train thingy, that one train game.
Oh, the train simulator where you had to run into people?
Yeah, run into people,
that was
create havoc. So I mentioned that there, but there was an instance where we were playing Saints Row and a car happened to slightly tap another car, and for whatever reason that caused complete havoc. Fucking cars were flying over each other and there's like explosions everywhere. It was amazing.
That's the best thing about the Saints Row series now that we're on it, is that game is just, they figured out it's no longer serious, let's just make it as ridiculous as possible.
Yeah.
And it just works.
That's what happened with Saints Row the Third.
That's
right?
what exactly. They were just like fucking full force, man. You got the weird guns, you got the porn stars in there.
Because otherwise
like,
it's just GTA.
It's just GTA. Why not have a really good fun spin on it, right? Get the best parts of GTA when you're like in free play, and just throw it in a game.
Yeah.
It was great. What a good time.
Yeah, what other collaborations do you see? I saw Assassin's Creed on there.
There is Assassin's Creed, but my all-time favorite has got to be the Super Mario Brothers All-Stars. You do have more Halo, and then you got Assassin's Creed in 2016
with Supra.
These
are some expensive shoes.
These are some expensive ass shoes now. And then we get Sonic and Dr. Eggman in 2018 as well. Like, we got collabs up the ass here. It's never going to stop, and that's cool. Sneakerheads need to do things too, right? Mm-hmm. They also have to spend money.
Yeah. But yeah, this next story over here, not quite as lighthearted as the Dragon Ball collab and the Street Fighter collab. So Team Echo Fox is dropping players and disbanding some of their teams. So they did this in a tweet here earlier this week, where they put out an official statement. It says here, as part of a strategic effort to best position our organization for the future, Echo Fox is realigning its portfolio of teams and player rosters. After careful review and consideration, we will be disbanding our Call of Duty and Gears of War teams, as well as releasing some of our fighting game players and other select players. These moves will allow us to focus our time and resources on the continued development of the remaining rosters, ensuring that we can deliver on the expectations of our fans, our players, and the rest of the Echo Fox family. Echo Fox remains dedicated to the growth and development of our players as professionals and individuals. The players moving on have poured their hearts into their games, into Echo Fox. We're grateful for all the time and effort they have given, and we plan to support them in the future in their future endeavors. They will always be part of the Echo Fox family. I'm excited for the future of Echo Fox, and that was a statement by Jared Jeffries, who's the president of Echo Fox. Kind of sad stuff.
That sucks. Like, you just lose your job.
Yeah, I knew a player from Echo Fox. His name's Theo. He's a Injustice and Dragon Ball Fighter Z player. Very good player. Really cool guy. I was a part of a Twitter group of people back when I was like still playing Dragon Ball Fighters, to like kind of get sets in, practice with each other, help each other out, and all that stuff. So he's a really cool guy, willing to help people out in the game and everything. But it kind of sucks because he was one of those players that was dropped from Echo Fox.
That does have to suck.
Yeah,
I could only imagine.
A lot of fighting game community players. I mean, they dropped their full COD and Gears of War teams, and that's surprising. COD's a
huge game.
Yeah.
Like Gears of War, I could see why.
Yeah, Gears of War not quite as big, but COD is still
huge.
A big game.
It's like one of the biggest shooters you do competitively.
Mm-hmm.
What else is there to play? Battlefield. You know what? Siege is really good.
Yeah,
Siege is really good. I would play Siege again.
Very competitive game. It's a very hard game.
Very hard game.
You have to really memorize those maps and understand like the intricacies of those maps to really be successful in that game.
But I'm sure a lot of those players who got dropped are gonna find, they're gonna find someone else who'll pick them up.
They got sponsored. They're good players.
Exactly. Someone's gonna go like, hey, they just dropped. Pick them up now.
Right.
Like if you want them, it's kind of like a draft. Wait till they start doing the draft for video game players.
Right.
Like that's gonna be. The world of esports is going to get wild again.
Yeah. But yeah, this is a lot of people are worried about some of these players. Like people are like, oh, is Theo, is DKill Sage, are they good? All that stuff. I mean, Theo, he was dropped, like I mentioned earlier.
This is surprisingly a lot bigger than I thought. Mm-hmm. Now that you're going through the comments, I'm kind of taking a look. Like,
yeah, a lot of people are really worried about these players, and I mean, that's their livelihood. Like that's how they're making money. Like sponsorships are really important in gaming if you want to be successful, if you want to make money, because without the sponsorship, like all you can really do is you can stream, but you have to have like an entertaining personality or be like really good and have kind of like a following already. Sponsorships makes it a lot easier, makes it easier for you to travel out to tournaments because they cover you for that stuff.
That's what your team is doing. So yeah,
a lot of people, they can't afford to travel out like that. So yeah, I wish all those players the best. Really hope.
Good luck to them.
Yeah. So enough depressing stuff. Back to some more happy stuff. Sony's finally listening. The great Lord Shuhei Yoshida answered our prayers. We can finally change our PSN names soon.
Finally.
Not quite yet, but soon. They did release some pricing for it as well.
I believe it is. I'm going to try to do this off memory. $9.99 if you're not a Plus member, and I believe it is $5.99 if you're a Plus member. I could be wrong, but was I on? $4.99.
$4.99.
Dang, I was $1 off.
Almost correct. Ugh. So yeah, you can finally change your name. You no longer have to be stuck with Vape420XO666.
Oh, imagine just having to live with your first email address you got to make.
Right.
That's shame.
I can finally change my name to lowercase x, capital X, Dark Flame Master, capital X, lowercase x.
Whew. Get out of here,
I can finally be that.
But do you want to be that?
Yes.
I don't think you want to be that.
Right. So it says here, changes to online ID can be made through the settings menu or via the profile pages of your PS4. Like you said, $9.99 if you're not a PS Plus member, $4.99 if you are a PS Plus member. Not too bad. I remember Street Fighter recently released a way for you to change your fighter ID, and it was $10 to change your fighter ID as well. So it's kind of like a standard price at this point now.
I wonder if they even have to charge for that, because I remember when I first had an Xbox 360, maybe it was because I never connected to the internet, but you could just change it no problem.
Well, I mean, they give you one free change, I believe.
Yeah, one free change, but then like you think about it, like what do they really need to do with that name change that they have to charge you?
Right. I mean,
it's not like a big deal. Like, well, I mean, I'm sure people will do it.
Here's the thing. It affects all games. So, like, a lot of games, they will use just your PSN, right? Mm-hmm. But, yeah, when you change your ID, it affects all those games throughout your platform.
Okay.
So that's probably the reason why they're charging.
It's for, like, services, I guess. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I can live with that.
Yeah, so here's what I found kind of interesting about this. It says here, when you change your online ID, you will have the option to display your previous ID with your new ID so your friends can recognize you. Once you decide to display your old ID or not, you won't be able to adjust this after completing the ID change process. This next thing, this feature is compatible with PS4 games originally published after April 1st, 2018, and a large majority of the most played PS4 games that were released before this date. However, please note, not all games and applications for PS4, PS3, and PS Vita systems are guaranteed to support the online ID change, and users may occasionally encounter issues or errors in certain games. If for any reason you experience issues after changing your ID, you can revert back to your original ID for free at any time. You will only be able to revert once during the preview program. Reverting back to an old ID will resolve the most issues caused by the ID change. In addition, when this feature officially launches, a list of compatible games published before April 1st, 2018 will be provided on PlayStation.com for reference before you make a change. So,
don't change your name. Just get it right the first time.
You could run into issues. I don't know if this is just during the initial testing phase of it or something until they get it ironed out, or if this is just going to be an issue that's going to be there.
I mean, I hope not. I hope they iron it out, because that's going to be a whole thing. Because you got to think of what the PlayStation is, the biggest selling console of this generation of consoles. So everybody has one except for me. I still got to buy one. So if you decide to change your name, you got all these problems happening, and now PlayStation's more hot in the water. Just they got to do this trial period, make it work, and then they're going to get it good, because Xbox does it, and it seems to work for them. So.
Right. Yeah, that is a lot of issues with changing your name, at least right now. It's especially the fact that it's not guaranteed to work on PS3 and PS Vita. I mean, not a lot of people are really playing on PS3 and PS Vita at this time, but say you change your name on PS4, it doesn't show up on PS3 and PS Vita, people could get confused and things like that. I mean, I guess that's where this whole display your old ID thing.
Who really is playing their Vita?
Yeah.
Do you have a Vita?
No, I don't. It's a good handheld.
Dude, I love the PlayStation Portable. That thing was the shit.
Yeah, it's a good handheld, but I mean, it didn't really sell well. Now
it's ahead of its time. They were ahead of their time.
Sure. But yeah, they give you the option to display your old ID to avoid confusion. But a lot of people, they're changing their IDs because they don't want to live with that anymore. So who's going to want to display their old ID? You know what I mean?
I guess it's for it's like training wheels. I guess your friends are like, oh.
But here's the thing. They said that it can't be
tricks?
Here's the thing, though. They in here it says right here. Shut up, Chakma.
Okay, so
once you decide to display your old ID or not, you won't be able to adjust this after completing the online ID change process. So it can't really be training wheels. You know what I mean? It's set once you set that setting.
That's true.
So who actually wants to display their old ID? A lot of people are trying to get away from it. A lot of people are very embarrassed by
that's true if they are switching it out. I could only imagine that maybe some of your friends haven't realized it yet, and then after a certain amount of time, it'll go away. Mm-hmm. Kind of like a 2-week thing. It's it still shows your old name, but it is going to disappear.
That's not what it says here, but I don't know.
That's what I would hope they do. If you had to think about it, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. But you mentioned earlier,
how does Steam do it? Can you just do it freely? Because I feel like all my friends always change their name, and I go, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah, I believe you can just do it freely. You are still stuck with your original for login purposes and stuff. And I hate my original Steam thing, but nobody sees it anyway.
What's your original Steam name?
Magical Pigs with a Z at the end.
With a Z. And what are you now, Tricks?
I made this a long time ago, okay?
There you go, ladies and gentlemen. He regrets his first tattoo. It says Katie on his hand. He is no longer with Katie. He was never with Katie either. He just masturbated furiously to her. That's all.
God. Okay. But yeah, you mentioned earlier that you still need to get a PS4, but maybe it might be a little bit better to wait because Sony did confirm that they are working on a new PlayStation console.
Which looks awesome. And this is just one thing I'm thinking about all the new gen. Will they be doing streaming games? Because that's what I'm looking forward to. So something like Hulu and Netflix. Yeah.
So streaming games is already a thing that is also going on.
Steam's doing it, right?
I don't believe it was Steam, although they did have that Steam Link thing that they had, which let you do it. However, another thing that NVIDIA is also doing a service that lets you stream games from their servers. So they have a server connected to powerful computers and stuff, and the games are running on those powerful computers, and it streams that feed to your shitty laptop or something, so you can play high-end games on your shitty laptop. Sure, there's a little bit of a delay, but apparently it's actually a pretty pleasant experience.
See, that would be awesome, because then who wouldn't want to do that? Just have a good internet connection, play all the games you want, only pay probably maybe they'd probably do it $60 a month. Actually, that's kind of expensive. Maybe $30 a month.
Right. I believe they do charge a fee for it, obviously, because they have to keep these servers running and shit.
I mean, if they did, you have your premium tiers where you get the new games right away. You have your old ones, and then your $10 package or something.
I mean, Sony is also already kind of doing it with like PlayStation Now and stuff like that.
Really?
And then there's like their catalog of like a cheap of like old games and stuff.
That I do, yeah, and they give you like one for free, or like you get to play it for a certain amount of time.
I believe those are streamed as well, and not actually like I don't remember the specifics of this. Don't quote me on it, but I do remember Sony was doing kind of some like sort of streaming game service already.
See, that's awesome, because then that really is what the future is going to be like for all the consoles. Think about like this, like away from PlayStation now. Think about your Switch.
Yeah,
it really isn't the best built thing, like graphically and internally, but it could be if you can do like remote access, kind of like you're doing with streaming, which would be awesome.
Yeah, but like the main concern with streaming games, which is hopefully something that they can address in the future, is there is still input delay because it is streaming wirelessly.
That is true.
There's going to be some delay. You can't really avoid that. So it's not really viable for like competitive games. For, like,
no,
say,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
And I mean, think about all the competitive games though. They're always in the same room. They're all connected, hardwired. Like I rarely see wireless. And in fact, I don't think I ever have.
Yeah, like people playing competitive games, they always use wired peripherals, wired controllers, things like that to reduce that lag. And then if there's additional lag via the internet, that could cause for an issue. But hopefully in the future, we will have technology that makes it virtually lagless.
We will with this new PlayStation. Hopefully.
Maybe. But they haven't said really anything about what this new PlayStation is going to entail. They haven't even confirmed if it's going to be called the PlayStation 5 yet. So it says right here, at this point, what I can say is it's necessary to have a next generation hardware, said Kenichiro Yoshida. And it says here, did not name the console. No information on whether it was officially it will officially be called PlayStation 5. No word on a release window. Let's see. We will use the next 3 years to prepare the next step to crouch down so that we can jump higher in the future. That is a mouthful.
That is a mouthful.
Sony plans to employ their that strategy through its 2020 fiscal year, which ends in the spring of 2021. So the PS5 may not come until after that point. So we still got a little bit. Most likely. We still got a little bit until the next one.
I feel like this last generation of consoles has really gone for a while.
Yeah, they've kind of dragged it. It's been out for a cool minute. So
a cool minute. And it's cool because it's a good console.
It was a very good console.
Spencer got one of the special edition one, the 5 million or whatever they were called.
Yeah. Shoot. I don't remember.
He didn't even get a cool number, so it didn't matter.
He was hoping he would get the cool number.
Hoping he would get his cool number.
So yeah, that's PlayStation. A week ago, we talked about how they're finally allowing crossplay, so that's cool.
I hope it goes through. But I was talking to one of my other friends who's
so it's a little funky.
Yeah, and she because she's kind of in the industry there in New York. And she's telling me like it's a maybe. We'll see if PlayStation actually wants to do it. But no,
they already put out a beta for Fortnite.
Okay, so yeah, for Fortnite exactly. But we're talking about all games.
Yeah,
because Fortnite and Rocket League are the two, right? Those are the only two right now. I
believe so.
Yeah,
I think they just betaed Fortnite though.
And that's okay because I mean I really hope it does happen because then you don't have to buy different consoles. Then you're only looking at consoles for exclusives at that point, which PlayStation and Nintendo really. They're the best two for exclusives. If you're just buying it for single-player stuff,
right?
They really do have the best games.
And the big concern that Sony had with crossplay was crossplay with the Xbox and the Switch. Crossplay with the PC, not quite as much of an issue. It was already like a thing with Street Fighter, for instance. Street Fighter 5, you can crossplay between PS4 and PC. I believe there was a little bit of crossplay happening with Fortnite from PS4 to PC, but it's just integrating the other consoles, Xbox, Switch, that they were having problems doing. That they didn't really want to do, it seemed like, and that is also kind of apparently glitchy. Apparently, there's a lot of issues revolving around the crossplay between on Fortnite. Hopefully, they can get those kinks worked out. Hopefully, it becomes a full-on thing throughout all their other future titles.
It's true. I want to play with my PC friends again since I don't have a PC anymore.
You can in Street Fighter,
but I also want to have a chance at winning. And I won't win if I play against you.
Yeah. So while we're still on the topic of PlayStation, I'm going to skip ahead and then we'll go back to our other stories because this is a new story that we added to this list. It apparently became a big thing today, I think. Was it today or was it
This was like literally a few days ago.
Was it a few days ago?
It was like...
Yeah, I'm surprised I didn't run into this story. Arnold was the one that actually found this.
Yeah, it was really recent.
So you could potentially brick your PS4, factory reset your PS4 by accidentally opening up by opening up a message that you would get. So it says here, malicious message crashes aren't just for smartphones. It seems numerous PS4 owners have reported receiving PSN messages where an unrecognized character effectively bricks their console, making them crash and leaving them unable to start properly, and deleting any rogue messages, typically by leaving the conversation in the PS Messages mobile app. Isn't enough by itself. You have to either rebuild the database in safe mode or factory reset the system. So
that
that's super
sucks.
fucked. Yeah.
Yeah, that's absolutely sucks. Mm-hmm. I would hate that.
So you can eliminate the chance of a hostile message by going into, a little bit of indigestion going on, by going into your settings, either in the console or the PS Messages app, visiting account management, and then changing your privacy settings so that messages are either limited to friends or switched off.
So do not answer messages from strangers.
Yes.
Even on the internet, where you think the Nigerian prince is giving you money is not real.
Yeah.
Don't do it on your PlayStation, kids.
So this was pointed out in the PS4 subreddit. Let me go back over here. New glitch basically breaks your console and forces you to factory reset it. Even deleting the messages from the mobile app doesn't work. Happened to me during Rainbow Six Siege. A player from the other team used a dummy account to send the message and crashed my entire team. We all had to factory reset. Only one of our guys wasn't affected, and he has his messages private. So yeah, go to your settings, change that setting right away so that you don't get fucked by this.
Yeah, I heard when I heard about this story, I heard everyone was just spamming it at that point.
Yeah, this is crazy.
That sucks. What a fatal flaw in a console that a message kills your console.
Is it a glitch or is it a?
I think it's a character that it can't read properly or something.
Really?
That's what I'm. Don't quote me on it, but that's what I hear. That's why you could just spam the message and it just kills it.
Yeah. So apparently, Sony has yet to comment about this. They're probably going to fix it in the software update.
I mean, that seems like the most logical solution.
Yeah. I mean, you don't want people's PS4s getting bricked. That's
no,
super
that
fucked.
Sucks. Unless PlayStation did it to sell more units.
Yeah.
Sneaky.
But yeah, even deleting it doesn't fix it. It's insane. This is huge. This is really huge. But yeah, turn that shit to private. You don't want to get fucked. It's like someone comes and it's like a vampire, right? Okay. So vampires, you have to invite them into your home for them to come in and fuck you.
Yeah. And so that's why there's no vampire pregnancies.
Yeah,
because they can't come inside without permission.
Don't invite those vampires into your home. All right. So looks like that's all the Sony stuff. This next thing was so we talked about Meltdown a couple weeks ago. I don't remember if it was episode 2 or episode 3 that we talked about Meltdown.
When I first heard about Meltdown, I thought it was a fucking joke. I was thinking, did they just make a tool Pokemon? An actual tool?
I was just joking about how he's literally just a Ditto that walked into Lowe's or Home Depot.
Right, and looked at and then was like, this is me now.
Yeah.
So, no, then it was a real thing, and now I had to actually do at least 10 minutes of research on this. It's cool. I like where they're going with this guy. Mm-hmm. That you can only catch it in Pokemon Go to play with it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it is a system specific Pokemon.
I think that's awesome.
Right. It's kind of it's like how the legendary Pokemon, you can only get on one version of it, and then you kind of trade between people. Spencer's asking if we're recording tomorrow.
Hell yeah, we're recording tomorrow. See you guys then.
He's messaging me on Steam and stuff. I want to respond to him right away.
He's going to send you so much dirty messages.
He's interrupting our podcast.
So yeah.
So this new thing, yeah. So basically, the story was that you can only get it in Pokemon Go, and there is a picture, I believe, that is supposed to be an evolution of Meltan. Is that what it was?
Yeah.
So right here, it looks like part of it looks kind of like what was that one Pokemon? The big metal psychic thing. Looks like a sort of like a spider, kind of.
I can only think of the magnet one, and now I can't even remember the
I
name.
can't remember that Pokemon's name, but it was like Psychic Steel. But I don't believe that's what this is. But he also looks kind of like that Bell Pokemon in a way.
Yeah.
You remember that Bell one, right? I'm totally blanking. I used to have like all these names down by heart, and now I'm just completely blanking on what they are. But yeah, looks that shadow looks interesting, but we don't really know what exactly it is. There's some speculation on what it could possibly be. But yeah, the Meltans you get from like boxes.
Oh yeah, the the secret box or something, and they're attracted to it, and you can get them for like I think they said it was about 30 minutes when you open it up, so then you have 30 minutes to capture as many.
Right.
Which I think is kind of cool.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. It's an interesting
now I'm
concept.
seeing the body. It looks so weird.
It's so strange.
Oh my god! It's like there's all the red things coming out of it too. Like
yeah, it has like that little electric tail thingy coming out.
Is that a tail or is that a dick?
Metagross. Arnold messaged me. I guess he heard me, but that Pokemon that I was thinking of, the Psychic Steel, was Metagross.
Thank you.
Yeah, he kind of looks like Metagross. You know Metagross?
Pull it up. Let's see it. Metagross. That sounds gross. Oh, this thing.
Doesn't it kind of look like it?
Yeah, that
but it looks like Metagross with like a little bolt eye thingy on top.
Nice. He got red dot.
Metagross with a red dot sight.
Because he needs that for some reason.
So yeah, that's Meltan. They put out like a little trailer thingy for it. We're not really gonna watch it. No need to.
You could check that out. We'll put it in the.
Yeah, you guys can look at it yourself. Okay, next story. Microsoft on the cusp of buying Obsidian Entertainment.
Now, I hope this goes through because I liked Obsidian's work with Fallout New Vegas. And
I kind of like Obsidian as an independent thing.
There's ups and downs for being like, doing its thing just because, one, if you are, let's do this. The good about being purchased, you have a more stable job because you're not on they've been through a few financial crises,
right?
A few times, so you have this stability for all your workers, and that's great. And you have a lot of money, so your budget's a little better. But the downside is you are owned by Microsoft, so you do have to follow their terms and like what they're going to say like will be happening. And then you could go down the EA route or something, and you don't want that to happen. I don't think Microsoft's gonna do that because they're not known for that, but that's like the ups and downs of it.
Yeah. So we're here. So apparently this came from. So I'm on Eurogamer, but this came from a Kotaku article. It says 3 people briefed on the negotiations as sources. Deal between Microsoft and Obsidian is said to be 90% complete, with one source stating that it's a matter of when, not if. So basically confirmed, it is going to happen. Most likely.
And I'm okay with that because I think Obsidian can probably turn out some good stuff, and Microsoft has been buying a lot of things recently, and that's good because Microsoft really doesn't have exclusives. So this is giving them their chance for it. So
I just realized that this is a older story. Oh wait, no, this came out on the 9th. 9, 10, 20. Yeah, so
they just did it weird because they're European.
Yeah, the Eurogamer does dates weird.
Yeah, so, don't worry. This is still
I got worried. I was like, oh shit, was this from September?
Hey, we're still touching it up. It's not that far away.
Yeah. But yeah, this happened on the 9th of this month.
It's cool. I think they should do it. As much as you may want to have them independent, but independent's risky unless you make the game like the year 4 times in a row,
right,
or something, and then you got the money.
Yeah, hopefully this acquisition from Microsoft doesn't affect their games too much, doesn't affect them as a developer too much. Hopefully it just adds more stability to them. But yeah, they are more limited to Microsoft's rules. Of course. Those of you that don't know of Obsidian Entertainment, they did Pillars of Eternity, they did Fallout New Vegas, they did the South Park Stick of Truth, all the great. South Park games, the good South Park games. They did all the good South Park games.
You didn't like South Park Racing?
Shut up.
I fucking love South Park. Is it a good game? In my heart, it is.
So yeah, that's that. We'll see where that sort of acquisition goes in the future. That's basically all we have right now on that story. Next thing, a documentary on GTA 5 is coming.
Because, they haven't had enough things, so why not throw more stuff at them?
So, GTA 5, easily the biggest Grand Theft Auto game to ever happen. Not necessarily big in terms of the size of the game. I mean, it's still... would you say it's the biggest in the, like...
Playing it on 4 separate occasions, yes, it's one of the biggest ones in terms of content that's available to you. Not so much the world, but the content is just like you can just. I played it 4 freaking times.
Yes,
like there's just so much to do in the game.
Yeah, but not talking about just the size of the game, but the biggest in terms of how it's sold. How it's still selling.
Oh yeah, that is true.
It is still selling a lot.
Yeah. You have to buy you get the versions now you can buy are just the year edition version, which gives you all the original DLC, and then all the online is its own world.
Yes.
It's just wonderful.
Yes,
the game. Ooh, excuse me, it's great.
Yeah,
I love it. I keep playing it, or I used to keep playing it, and I would still play it.
Yeah.
I'd probably buy it for the 3rd time.
Yeah, so this is like the Skyrim of GTA. Skyrim still being milked, GTA 5 still being milked.
But at least with GTA 5, it's being milked in a good way because they're still building things for it. Where Skyrim's like, hey, it's done. Here's a Switch version.
They're not. Yeah, they're just releasing new versions of it. And then all the players are basically creating the DLC for the game with all
Todd
the
Howard,
all the
you beautiful bastard.
So yeah, a documentary is happening for it. Says right here, new feature documentary called The $1 Billion Game will explore the highs and lows of Rockstar Games' Grand Theft Auto 5, tackling the biggest selling video game in U.S. history, which is still selling millions of copies many years after its 2013 release date. Yeah, keep in mind, this came out 5 years ago, and it's still...
Like, Call of Duties come out every year. You get a new Samsung and iPhone every year. People's attention span goes away after a year. So 5 years, that's a hell of a thing to say.
Yeah. The documentary aims to explore the development of the series by way of archive material and new interview footage. According to Screen Daily Gaming, filming is already underway. It's being directed by Rob Ryan from Breaking Habits. I've never watched Breaking Habits. I don't know
how many have, but that's, it's cool that they're making a gaming documentary. That's awesome. I think that's great.
There's a lot of gaming documentaries, but yeah, it's always cool to see more.
And I like that Rockstar's the one to get chosen, that's cool because they're such a controversial company.
Yeah. So I don't really know any of the names here. Producers confirmed as Salon Pictures. I don't know who Salon Pictures is. Annabelle Wigoder?
Without her daughter?
Nick Tossage?
Nick Sausage.
So I don't really know how to pronounce their names. I've never heard those names before. I may just be living under a rock. Maybe you guys know these names and they're huge names. In which case, great, but I don't.
No, I'm not aware of these names.
But yeah, so I did not read this part, so I'm just going to read it right now. Of course, this isn't the first time mainstream media has been interested in exploring behind the scenes at Rockstar North. Daniel Radcliffe played co-founder Sam Hauser and Bill Paxton, lawyer Jack Thompson, in the one-off BBC drama The Game Changers, received an air-mixed reception, to say the least. But yeah, this is it could be a pretty neat thing for you guys to look forward to.
I think it's cool. I'd watch it because I like this as a company. They're an interesting one. So.
Right. So last story on our list was a trailer for a game called Weedcraft Inc. I'll pull this up for you guys right now. It's by Devolver Digital. You get to play as a weed tycoon. Weed tycoon. I like how current this trailer is because they put in this shot here of Elon Musk on the Joe Rogan Experience.
Oh man, that was such a fun time.
Right there.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, this trailer came out on August 1st, which is, it came out a couple weeks ago, but still.
Hey, we're talking about it now. That's all that matters.
We're talking about it now because of the controversy behind this.
Because of the weed.
So, what is the controversy behind Weedcraft Inc.?
Well, you're selling weeds to kids.
Yeah.
I want 10 marijuanas.
You were selling weed to kids.
That's true.
So you used to be able to sell weed to kids. So let me just pull up this link right now. That's not the trailer. So this Polygon article kind of goes into it a bit. They were talking about how in an early version, where was it? Originally, the developers had a group of kids who could buy pot from the player, but that didn't feel like something they could include in the game without commenting on it in a deeper way, and it turns out that pot legalization doesn't seem to have that much of an impact on children smoking pot one way or the other. A lot of people were concerned with the fact that you were able to sell pot to kids in this because, I mean, you're a tycoon.
And you're selling pot
You're selling
to kids.
drugs. You're selling drugs, basically. It's still considered a drug.
That paraphernalia, it's like, parents aren't going to, like, even if some parents are accepting, some aren't, the majority is they're not.
Yes.
So they're not going to want their kids to be playing games where they're purchasing drugs. Like, it's not some, and like selling drugs too. Like, what if you had a game about trafficking?
Yeah. Parents, a lot of parents aren't going to want their kids playing a game where you are slinging weed.
That's just, it's just why.
Yes.
But at the same time, I like the idea of it because I looked further into the game and it seems like it fits their bill for what they make because there's a lot going on. Taking care of the weed, selling it, distributing it, like finding places and vendors to buy it. Like, that seems pretty cool.
Yes.
I like the concept of it, but don't sell drugs to kids.
Yeah, kids getting high is
The
still a very sensitive
Godfather
drug
said, we're not selling drugs to kids. And you know how that movie ended. If you haven't seen it, what are you doing? You've wasted your time. Go see The Godfather. Now. I'll wait.
So here's what they said. We realize that we can't just do it like this, like snap your fingers and have kids as your customers and not say anything about it. You can't just sell weed to kids in the game and not say anything about it. We could bring them back, but we will have to be very careful and very deliberate about doing so. So basically, if they want to have kids in there, they want to have a message behind it.
Which they should.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, that's basically.
What would their message even be? What could they deliver that would be like?
I mean,
how could you convince a 14-year-old to go, Mom, can I buy this game about weed?
I mean, I'm a journalist. I'm not a storyteller per se. I report things.
Okay, well,
so
how about you put your storyteller hat and try? Oh shit!
But I mean, yeah, like you said, like I don't really know how they would spin it in a way.
I really don't know how they could.
Yeah.
I honestly think they
if,
should just sell it.
Even if they did manage to spin it in that way, how are they going? How are those people? How are people going to convince their parents the second they hear game about weed?
Exactly. Like, and Europe is going to probably ban it. Like when they did it in Fallout 2 where you could kill kids. Mm-hmm. They got rid of it and it's not a thing anymore.
Yes.
It's just, without mods. Yeah. So, okay, I get what you're going there. Like, it can't.
Even if they do, it's still going to be a highly controversial game. This game is already very controversial as it is because you are a weed tycoon.
You're a drug peddler.
Despite it, becoming more widely accepted, it's being legalized in more states, it is still federally an illegal drug, correct? So yeah, like I mean,
state level we're finding California.
Yeah, still not fully accepted. I accept it.
Do you smoke
I don't smoke marijuana. I don't do any form of drugs, but I still accept it as
except play games. Yeah. He plays fighting games, and that's the worst drug of all.
That's the worst drug of all.
The worst one you can do, guys.
So yeah, that's weed. What was it? Weedcraft Inc. Weed tycoon.
Say no to drugs.
Say no to drugs.
Unless you're in college and your friend offers you a spliff, then that's on you.
Yes. So that is it with the news. That's all the stuff that we have to talk about there. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Don't sell drugs to kids. I just have to reiterate that.
Okay.
We do not endorse drugs.
We do not. We are a clean, despite the cursing, a clean channel. A clean group.
Channel.
So yeah, that's all. We'll go ahead and new segment. Well, not really segment. I'm just going to quickly brief over what's coming up on the channel for the rest of the week, since this is the first thing to come out for the week.
It is.
So Arnold and I, we played Crazy Taxi. We played Metal Slug 10, and we played a game that our buddy Rumblebee, shout outs to Rumblebee again. I'm always gonna shout you out because you're an awesome dude. He recommended the game D the Game to us, and it was an interesting experience, to say the least. If you guys watched our Conjuring playthrough, where we got very angry, well, Arnold got very angry.
It was just a fucking broken game.
It was an interesting experience. Yeah. D the Game was also an interesting experience. What it is, and I'm not gonna spoil too much about our playthrough, but it is very old. It's got those PS1 graphics. It is one of those games where, when you press forward, you don't start walking forward. You don't really control your movement. You just press forward, and it does a little cutscene of you walking in this direction, and then you press left. Does a little cutscene of you walking towards that direction.
Yep.
So it's one of those games. So you can look forward to that. I think you guys will have a lot of fun with that. Crazy Taxi was a Crazy Taxi experience.
I mean, it's Crazy Taxi. It's a wonderful game anytime you play it. Who doesn't want to be an Uber driver that doesn't obey the rules?
And then Crazy Taxi was very short, though. I will say it was a short episode, but still, it's a lot packed into a short
Crazy
episode.
Taxi already is a lot of content as is.
Yes.
So
and then after that, Metal Slug 10. That was a fun one.
And Metal Slug is a great game. So keep playing Metal Slug.
Yes.
We all like Metal Slug.
Metal Slug is great. It's fun. I mean, to be fair, it is the same game every time, but it's still fun.
Look, I want to find that POW, have him pull up his pants, and I get a weapon. It's my favorite part.
But yeah, so that's it for the podcast. If you have any questions or topics for us to talk about, you can send them on over to heywereplaying@gmail.com. That's HEYWEREPLAYIN@gmail.com. Send those questions on over there. If you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so, and subscribe to our podcast on iTunes, Podbean, or your preferred podcasting apps. Whatever you're listening to us on right now, if you're listening to the audio version, subscribe there. And if you prefer, and if you can, to support us, give us a little rating on iTunes. It'll help us.
That rating will help us so much. It'll make us keep doing things for you guys, because that's what we like to do.
Do things for you guys.
That's what we do.
We're your
do
slaves.
Things for you guys.
We're your slaves.
Let us into your house. We're vampires. Tell us that we can come inside. I guarantee you're gonna love it.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be back next week.
See ya.